today I'll be making another video on Rivals, but today I'll be making a video on rating every single weapon in Rivals and showing you guys which one, in my opinion, is the best and which one is the worst. So we're going to go through primary, secondary, melee, and utilities. So make sure if your favorite weapon is make sure to stay tuned so you can see what rating your favorite weapon would be. So the first weapon is going to be the assault rifle, and the assault rifle, you get this as soon as you spawn as soon as you join the game. Like your very first time playing the game, you get the assault rifle. And if you I actually like the assault rifle, but if you really know how to use the assault rifle, even if you don't know really how to use the assault rifle, it's still pretty good. But I'd actually rate this like a 7 out of 10. But if you really know how to play with the assault rifle and you're really good with it, it'd probably be like an 8 or 8.5 out of 10. But the assault rifle is a pretty good weapon, and especially if you know how to use it. But even if it's your first time using it, it's still a pretty good weapon. But our second weapon is going to be, or the second primary weapon is going to be the bow. And the bow is, I think, the cheapest primary weapon that costs keys. But I actually think the bow can be good. I mean, the bow's actually kind of only good if you're really good at aiming and stuff, because even though it does do a lot of damage, sometimes it's not really the best weapon to use. But so I'd actually rank this a 5 out of 10 or 4.5. I'll just do a 4.5 out of 10. In my opinion, I don't really like the bow, but you guys could like it. So if you guys disagree with me, you guys can let me know down in the comments. Our next primary weapon is the burst rifle. And the burst rifle is also a pretty good primary weapon. It's actually kind of like the assault rifle. It's just when you shoot, the bullets come out differently. But I think I'd actually like the assault rifle a little bit better, but the burst rifle is a really good weapon. If you have enough keys, I think it might be 20 something keys. But if you have over at least 40 or 30, and you don't really know what to spend it on and you're not trying to save, I would recommend buying the burst rifle if you have it not already, because the burst rifle is actually pretty good. So I'd give the burst rifle a 6.5 out of 10 rating, because it is pretty good, but sometimes there are some better weapons to choose from that. But it is a weapon I do recommend if you don't really know what to spend your money on and if you have enough keys to buy it. Our next one is going to be the crossbow. The crossbow is kind of like a mini version of the sniper, but the sniper's better. But the crossbow is also pretty good too. It's kind of like the bow. The crossbow is actually just like the bow, kind of, except it's better. It does more damage and stuff, but you can't double jump. But it's also like the sniper because it has that scope where you could aim into. I'll actually show you guys in the shooting range. But when you use the sniper, you can scope into it so you can aim easier, like this. As you guys can see, you can aim easier, but it will look different for you because I do have the pixel skin, so this scope does look a little weird. But the scope, when you do this, it looks just like a regular sniper. But I would since but since you can just use a sniper, I would actually give this rating a 5 out of 10 because even though it does good damage and stuff, the sniper is not that much more expensive, but it's also way better. The next weapon, primary weapon, is going to be the energy rifle. In my opinion, this is my opinion, but you guys may be different. I don't actually really like the energy rifle. I prefer the energy pistols, which we'll get into later in this video. But I don't really like the energy rifles because even though it has infinite ammo and that's like really good, even though it has infinite ammo, it only does like 3 damage per hit. And even though the bullets bounce off the wall like the slingshot, they just don't really do a lot of damage. And I find it when I use that weapon, it's hard to kill people with it. So that's why I don't really use it. So in my opinion, I give it a 4 out of 10. But you guys may rate it differently because this is on my opinion. Our next weapon is the flamethrower. The flamethrower is actually a good weapon on certain maps like the backrooms or something. But the flamethrower can do some really good damage. I think when you use like all 100 of your like things from the flamethrower, you just need it to let it like recharge so you can use it again. But I actually like the flamethrower because one reason why I like the flamethrower is because when you hit them after you hit them for a while, it will still do some flame damage. So like when you stop hitting them, they'll still take damage from the flames. But the flamethrower is a really good weapon overall, and I'd give it a 6 out of 10. Our next primary weapon is going to be the grenade launcher. I don't really use the grenade launcher, but I think it's a good weapon. I just don't really use it a lot for some reason. But the grenade launcher is what it sounds like. It's a launcher that launches grenades. So it's just like a 10 times better version of the grenade. But the grenade launcher, it can do a lot of damage because if you headshot somebody with the grenade launcher, it will do 100 damage just like the RPG. So the grenade launcher is also like the RPG. It has like more ammo and you can fire more quickly. But the grenade launcher can do some really good damage, especially on like the back rooms, because I think grenade launcher is the best on back rooms or the graveyard. But I actually think the grenade launcher is a really good weapon. I just don't use it a lot. But I give the grenade launcher a 6.5 out of 10. So it's a really good weapon. I just don't really use it a lot because I just use like other weapons. Our next weapon is the gunblade. The gunblade is only actually really good if you know how to use it. If you don't know how to use the gunblade, it's useless. But for people who know how to use the gunblade, it's really good. But if you don't really know how to use the gunblade and like you don't really know how to do the movement and stuff, it's probably only going to be like a 3 out of 10. But if you know how to do the movement and stuff, like it can be like really good because it has like the dash ability like the scythe, except like cooldown for the dash is shorter and it'll help you get around easily. And when you like have the slash ability, it does 50 damage each time you hit the enemy, so you only need to hit them 3 times and then you'll defeat them. But if you really know how to use this weapon, and it's like other weapons, because the other weapons for this loadout makes this gunblade really useful. But if you're only using the gunblade and you know how to do like the movement and all of that stuff, then it's probably going to be more like a 7.5 out of 10. But since I'm not really good at the movement, but I can hit some people with it, I'd give it like a 6 out of 10 in my opinion. But I can find it giving a really good rating if you know how to use it. Our next weapon is the minigun. The minigun is actually pretty good, but it's actually like only really good if you can like aim, and because even though it has a lot of bullets, the bullets go down really fast. So if you don't really know how to aim, you're going to miss all your shots. But I don't know why, but I just don't use the minigun because I don't know why, but I just don't use the minigun, and I also don't really like it because since like when you turn around when using the minigun, I feel like it's slower than like the other weapons. So when they're like dashing and jumping and stuff, it's hard to hit them, so you're just wasting like all of your bullets. But in my opinion, I'd give it a 4 out of 10 because I don't really like the minigun overall. The next one is the paintball gun. The paintball gun is actually a really good weapon. I actually like this weapon. The paintball gun is the paintball gun shoots like shoots like paint out of its weapon, and it does some really good damage. Also, it can also like blind the enemies kind of, because when you hit them with the paintball gun a couple of times with the bullets, their screen will get like the paintball splatters on their screen, which can like kind of like distract them, so it'll be easier for you to kill them. But I really like this weapon. It does some really good damage, and especially if you know how to use it, it can be like a really good weapon. So I'd give this weapon a 7 out of 10 because it's a really good weapon, and I think this is the most expensive primary weapon. But let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, but I believe it's the most expensive primary weapon. But on our next primary weapon is going to be the RPG. The RPG is like a mini grenade launcher, but it also is pretty good. The RPG is actually just like the grenade launcher, except I think it has like less bullets. Less like explosive stuff, and it takes longer to like shoot stuff because you have to like put the rocket in once you shoot it out. But with the grenade launcher, it's already in, so you could just like hit it or launch the grenade really fastly. But it's same like the grenade launcher. If you headshot somebody with this, it will do 100 damage. But if you body shot them, it will do 50 damage. So if you headshot them once and body shot them, you'll kill them. But it will only take 3 body shots in order to kill them. But I actually think the RPG is a really good weapon, especially for its price, because it can do some good damage. And I give the rating of the RPG a 7 out of 10 again. Our next weapon is going to be the shotgun. The shotgun is also really good for certain maps, but the shotgun is like a really good weapon. But the only downside about this weapon is if the other team has the katana, then if like the enemy has like a katana and you're trying to use a shotgun on them, they're probably gonna katana and you're just gonna kill yourself with the shotgun, because the shotgun does a lot of damage when it's close range. So if you're trying to like close range kill them and they have the katana, they're probably gonna pull out the katana and use that like reverse thing on you, and you're gonna die from the katana. But if the enemy doesn't have the katana, then it can do some really good damage and can wipe out your enemies really fast. And especially on backrooms, this can be a really good, useful weapon if you don't have like the flamethrower or grenade launcher, because since the backrooms is like packed up, you can easily do your close range attacks on them. So overall, I'd give this a 6 out of 10 because it's a really good weapon, and I find it useful sometimes. Our last primary weapon is going to be the sniper. The sniper is actually my favorite weapon, and I like to use it like almost every round. As you guys can see in my favorite weapons, my snipers there. But the sniper's a really good the sniper's a really good primary weapon. If a lot of people probably know, but a headshot will do 150 damage, which will one tap them, and a body shot will do 70 damage. So it'll take 3 hits in order to defeat the enemy. But one downside about the sniper is it does take some good aim to like land your headshots and stuff, because especially when your opponent is like sliding or jumping, because it will be hard to hit your headshots if your enemy or opponent is sliding. But I actually think it's a really good weapon. You can get it, but if you headshot somebody and they use the katana on you, then you will die. So that is a bad part about this weapon. But it's a really good weapon. It's one of my favorites, so I'd actually give this an 8.5 out of 10 for the sniper. I really like the sniper. But that will be it for the primary weapons. Let me know in the comments if you disagree with any of these. Now it's time for the secondary weapons. The daggers, I don't really like the daggers. A lot of people like to use these, but in my opinion, I don't really like the daggers. So I'd actually give the daggers a 3.5 out of 10 because even though they can, I think they do like around 30-25 damage each. I don't really like the daggers that much. Our next weapon is going to be the energy pistols. The energy pistols can be really good if you like know how to use them. Another really good thing about the energy pistols is that they have infinite ammo, just like the energy rifle, and I prefer the energy pistols over the energy rifle because even though it does around the same amount of damage, you can hit your opponents faster because it's like shooting like a minigun, except it has infinite ammo and it does less damage. Because if you keep hitting your opponent's headshot and stuff, it will deal more damage. And since you're hitting it like the bullets are going out fast, you will be able to defeat your opponent a lot quicker. So that's why I give this energy pistols a 6 out of 10. Our next weapon is going to be the exo gun. The exo gun is a really good weapon. It's the most expensive secondary weapon. I think it's the most expensive secondary weapon. It's either this or the slingshot, but the exo gun is better close range and stuff because it can't shoot that far, but headshots I think do like 20 damage, and I forget what body shots do, but if you know how to use it and stuff, it's a really good weapon. A lot of people use it. I like it, and I'd give this weapon a 7 out of 10 because it's a really good weapon. It can do some good damage, but sometimes it won't always do like the most amount of damage. But Another good side about this is it can go through Riot Shields and Katanas. So if they try using a Katana or Riot Shield, it'll just go straight through it so you can hit your opponent. Now our next secondary is going to be the flare gun. Flare gun's only useful on some maps. It can be good for cornering your opponent if you know how to use it well. But if you corner your opponent with the flare guns, they will, and if they hit the flare, then they will take damage from it. It's kind of like the flamethrower. When you're not hitting them, they'll still take like the flame damage from the flare gun. But if you use this on backrooms, since there's not a lot of space to move around and stuff, it can hit your opponents easily, but it doesn't always do the most amount of damage. So I'd give this a 5 out of 10 rating for the flare gun. Our next weapon is going to be the handgun. This is the weapon you start off with when you first join the game. I have the skin for the handgun, but I'll show you the regular skin. This is the regular skin for the handgun. It's just like, it looks like a pistol kind of, but the handgun can be actually pretty useful if you know how to use it. But the handgun can do around, like, I think it's like 20 to 30 damage per like body shot, so it can do some good damage. But I actually like to use this weapon if we're like if we can like only use like the if we're doing like a challenge or something with like my friends and we can only use like the regular loadout, like the main weapons when you start off with. I would actually like to use the handgun at times, because when your like assault rifle runs out of ammo or something and you want to reload, just use the handgun and it can like finish them off if they're low. So I'll give the handgun a 5.5 out of 10 because it can be pretty useful at times. The next is the revolver. This is actually my favorite secondary out of all the secondary weapons, because body shots will do 30 damage. So it does actually do some pretty good damage. So that's a reason why I like it. But it also has 6 ammo, so you need to shoot it 6 times, and then you will need to reload your weapon. And it also has like an ability of like when you click like the aim button, it'll shoot like all your bullets really fast. But when you do that, it's also kind of harder to hit your shots because you're not really controlling kind of where you want to aim it, because all your shots are going in like one place since it's like super fast. So I'd give this revolver a 7.5 out of 10 because it's a really good weapon. I really like it, and I use it almost every single round. Our next weapon is going to be the shorty. The shorty is, I think, is a really good weapon for like close range. If not, I think this is the best weapon for close range. If it's not the best one, it's probably the shotgun. But the shorty is really good for close range, especially if you headshot them, because if you like headshot both your bullets and you're like really close to them, I think you can like 2-tap them. So it can be really useful if you're close range. So this weapon, I think, is mostly useful for the back rooms because it's a tight space, and it will do some good damage in the back rooms if you hit people with it like really close range. So I would give the shorty a 5 out of 10 because it's pretty good and you can use it at times. Our next secondary weapon is going to be the slingshot. I like the slingshot because it's like really good at times, especially in the back rooms, because when you hit it, it can bounce off the wall and hit your opponents, like if they're like on the other side of like the wall or something, and it can do some pretty good damage. But the thing is, it only has like 75 ammo, because when you use all your 75 ammo, you can't use your slingshot again until the next round. So if you like miss all your opponents with the slingshot and you like don't do any damage to them with it, then it can be pretty bad. But if you like really know how to use it and stuff and you like really like it, I give it like a 6 out of 10. So I give the slingshot a 6 out of 10, but you guys may disagree with me because this is my opinion. Next weapon is going to be the spray. The spray is kind of like the burst rifle because like it like shoots a few shots and then it stops and then it shoots a few more. But the bullets are like really fast, so it can do some good damage, but I don't really like the spray and I don't really use it a lot. So I would give the spray a 3 out of 10 because even though it like shoots really fast and stuff, I don't really like always do the best amount of damage using it. So I don't really like the spray. And that's why I don't really use it. So I'd give it a 3 out of 10. Our next weapon is going to be the Uzi. The Uzis, I think the Uzis, in my opinion, is the best secondary weapon for beginners. It's also really cheap, so it's worth the amount of keys. And the Uzi is actually a really good weapon. It's kind of like the assault rifle. Well, it shoots like the assault rifle. I'll show you how it shoots. So you can aim and then you can just like shoot it, and it will do some really good damage against your opponents if you hit all of your shots. So I'd give the Uzi a 6 out of 10 because it's the best secondary, in my opinion, weapon for beginners. Now it's time for melee. The battle axe can be good at times. If you know how to use the battle axe, it's really good. But since I don't really like it and I don't really use it, I'd give the battle axe a 4 out of 10. Now it's time for the chainsaw. The chainsaw is a really good melee weapon for getting around to like places. Is a really good weapon for getting around to places because like the ability is where you can like speed up and stuff, but there's the cooldown for that. But I also really like this weapon, so I'd give it a 4.5 out of 10. Next weapon is the fists. This is the weapon you'd start off with when you first join the game. There actually is an ability for this, and the ability is that you can double jump. And if you like know all like the like tricks with this, it can be pretty useful on like docks and stuff like those maps. But if you're trying to fight with them, this can do some good damage. But I don't usually like always use it. But it's still a pretty good melee weapon for beginners. So I'd give it a 5 out of 10. Our next melee is going to be the katana. This is my favorite melee weapon because you can like katanas people's like weapons with it. But the downside about the katana is that you can only like katana like bullets. You can't katana like exoguns, and you can't katana exoguns and RPGs and like grenade launchers, flamethrowers, and any like melee things. You can't like deflect the bow or crossbow either. So that's the downside about this. But the good thing about this is if you use this at perfect timing against like a sniper and they headshot you, you can like deflect it and the bullet will send back to them and you'll defeat them. But the katanas are my favorite melee weapon, and I think it's a really good weapon, a really good melee weapon. So I'd give this a 8.5 out of 10. Next weapon is going to be the knife. The knife can be good. If you like really know how to use this and stuff, the knife will be really good for you. But I don't really like this, but the ability is when you backstab an opponent, it will instantly eliminate them. So if you backstab your opponent or enemy, it will instantly eliminate them instead of you have to hit them with the knife more than once. But if you hit them not a backstab, then you'll have to hit them more than once. But if you know how to use this, it's really good. But since I don't really use this weapon, I'd give it a 4 out of 10. Next weapon is the Riot Shield. The Riot Shield, you can use this as protecting yourself, and when you unequip this, it's on your back. So if somebody tries to hit you from the back, it'll also protect you from that. But you can also use this as a melee weapon, because when you click that bullet button on your screen or just try to shoot, you'll swing the Riot Shield and it'll hit the enemies. But the downside of this is it can't absorb the damage from all the weapons. It only can do for some. But the things it can't do is the exo gun. But anyways, I'd give this a 4.5 out of 10 because it can be useful at times, but there are some counters for this Riot Shield. Our next melee weapon is going to be the Scythe. The Scythe is a really good weapon, melee weapon. You can dash around with it, and if you know how to use it, it's really good. But I prefer the Katana over this. But even though I prefer the Katana over this is still a really good melee weapon for getting around to places. So I'd give this a 7 out of 10. Our last melee weapon is going to be the trowel. This is the most expensive melee weapon, and the abilities for this is you can place down blocks when you try pushing that to aim your weapon, and it'll place down blocks. And you can actually do some really crazy glitches with the trowel. So I might make a video on that later on. But you can do some crazy glitches with the trowel, and when you hit them with the trowel, it will do 50 damage, so it does do a lot of damage. So I'd give this weapon a 6.5 out of 10. Now it's time for our utilities. The flashbang, I don't really like it, but you can use it. It will flashbang your enemies so they can't see and you can hit them. But I don't really like this weapon, so I'd give it a 4 out of 10. The freeze ray, if you can land your freeze bullets with the freeze ray, then it's really good with the knife, because you can freeze them, and then when they finally are unfrozen, you can just backstab them with the knife. But that's really the best reason to use this. But you can freeze your opponents if you want, but I just don't really like to use the freeze ray, so I'd give it a 4 out of 10. The grenade is the utility you will get when you first join the game, and it does 75 damage when you hit an opponent with it, so it's pretty good. But you can also use this for movement too, if you know how to do on arena, if you know how to do it. So I'd give this a 6 out of 10. The medkit is my favorite utility, and this is, I think, the most a lot of people use this one, and it allows you to heal when you're in a match. So when you're low or something on health, you can just use the medkit and then it'll heal you, but it'll only heal you some, but it can heal you. It can save you in a lot of matches. The Molotov, the medkit, I'd rate the medkit an 8.5 out of 10. It's a really good utility. I think in my opinion, it's the most useful utility. Next one is the Molotov. The Molotov, you can throw it and then it'll send a heat thing. It can be really useful in a lot of maps. And so that's why I'd give this a 6 out of 10. The satchel, I don't really like to use the satchel. Some other people like to use it, but I don't really like to use it. So I'd give this a 4 out of 10. The smoke grenade, I don't really like this. I don't really see the point of using the smoke grenade. Unless you just want to trap your enemies and stuff. But this is my least favorite utility, so I'd give it a 3 out of 10. Subspace trip mine, this is a really good utility too. Because when your opponent hits a subspace or walks on a subspace trip mine, it deals 149 damage. And if you guys don't know, players have 150 health. So when they hit this trip mine at full HP, they only have 1 HP left. So they'll just be one tap. But I really like this. It's very useful on backrooms. So I'd give this a 7 out of 10. Last utility and last weapon of this video is going to be the Warhorn. The Warhorn can speed boosts you. It's best for the very beginning of the round. So when you first spawn in and you have the Warhorn, just use the Warhorn and then you can walk very fastly. But the Warhorn can be useful, but I'd give the Warhorn a 5 out of 10 rating. But anyways, that will be it for this video. I hope you liked it, and I hope this video helped you. And if you guys have any disagreements with me on certain weapons, make sure to let me guys know down in the comments. But anyways, that will be it for this video. I hope you liked it, and like and subscribe to stay tuned for more videos.